Good Tuesday afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Lauren Lemanchek. New this afternoon, Governor Tim Walz taking questions about his decision to end his re-election campaign. This is the first time he's answered any questions about dropping from the race after making that announcement on Monday. He says he is not going anywhere.
And we'll make sure that in this state, there's full accountability for everybody, because buck stops with me. I'm accountable for this. And because of that accountability, I'm not running for office again. But I have a year to continue to improve on a record that I think will stand up against anybody's, a record that has made Minnesota better, a record that makes people want to come here, and a record that has respected not only the dignity of people, but the idea of rule of law and camaraderie.
Walz says he wants to focus on fighting fraud in Minnesota over the next year and let someone else focus on running a political campaign. Right now, though, it's not clear who will jump at the opportunity to enter the Democratic ticket. Minnesota's Amy Klobuchar is currently being discussed, as well as Secretary of State Steve Simon and Attorney General Keith Ellison. Meantime, we're hearing reaction from those who know the governor's job well. Former Governor Tim Pawlenty shared his reaction to the news.
In a world where we're all working hard, paying our taxes to the state government, and then they waste it and allow it to be stolen, people are understandably very mad. And even in a blue state, I think that was probably enough to say, for most people, we're not re-electing him.
Pawlenty says he wasn't surprised by Walz's decision, adding the next Democratic candidate will have to face the topic of fraud in this election. The Trump administration's also reacting to the governor's decision. In a statement, the White House said in part that Walz should be apologizing to Minnesotans for allowing their tax dollars to be misused so badly. It went on to say that dropping out of the governor's race won't shield Walz from the consequences of his actions. New today, the Trump administration is freezing more benefits for low-income people in 5 Democratic-led states. The affected states are here in Minnesota, California, Colorado, Illinois, and New York. That freeze means about $7 billion in welfare money will not go out. This also affects more than $2 billion for the Child Care Development Fund and millions for social services. Health and Human Services leaders are accusing those states of widespread fraud within their welfare programs. Taking you live now from Washington, D.C., where the massive fraud scandal sweeping Minnesota's social service programs is taking center stage. Investigative reporter A.J. Legault is there covering the hearings. He'll be live starting today and throughout the day tomorrow. Just in, a new video posted by the Department of Homeland Security shows Secretary Kristi Noem joining federal agents during an ICE operation in St. Paul today. Federal agents appeared to have taken one individual into custody in the Payne-Phelan neighborhood. This comes as officials say thousands of ICE agents are headed to the Twin Cities.
Tonight, the Department of Homeland Security is ramping up operations in the Twin Cities. Thousands of ICE agents and officers are heading here, according to 2 senior DHS officials. Those officials also say 600 Homeland Security investigators are coming to investigate the now viral fraud allegations at local daycares. The Wall Street Journal says Greg Bovino, the Border Patrol commander who's led militarized immigration operations in L.A. and Chicago, is also coming to Minneapolis. The Wall Street Journal also says if this is fully carried out, this deployment would represent one of the largest immigration operations in the country since President Trump took office.
Right now, the Anoka Hennepin Schools negotiation team is back at the table with union leaders for a last chance mediation. The union says they're prepared to meet with the district as long as it takes to reach an agreement, but they are still sitting on $22 million apart. The sticking points here include rising health insurance costs and pay. If they can't come to an agreement, a strike would start Thursday morning, closing school for nearly 40,000 students.
Although a strike would not be good for our family, transitions, schedules would change. I fully support what they're working for and what they need to be excellent educators.
Now, if the strike happens and school closes, students currently enrolled in Adventures Plus before and after school childcare would be able to continue in a full day format, but the district says they do not have the capacity to accept more students during a strike. We're also learning this afternoon Robbinsdale area schools will keep a magnet elementary school open, but will discontinue magnet programming at a middle school. It comes as the district grapples with ways to save money and make up its $21 million budget deficit. The decision was made during a contentious school board meeting last night, where Fair Pilgrim Lane Elementary and Fair Christian Middle Schools were the main focus. Some parents and educators tell us the school programs are unique and irreplaceable because of their focus on creativity and the arts.
It doesn't make sense. We have the highest test scores in our school out of the district. Why would they shut us down?
There are over 400 students enrolled at Fair Crystal. The district says the same courses are currently offered at other schools within the district, but parents say that's not the case. In a statement, the district says these decisions are not taken lightly and are being made to, quote, stabilize the district's long-term financial future. Today, House Speaker Mike Johnson is defending the Trump administration's Venezuela operation as U.S. government receives backlash from countries around the world.
The U.S. military operation in Venezuela was a decisive and justified action. Nicolas Maduro is responsible for the deaths of untold thousands of Americans after years of trafficking illegal drugs and violent cartel members into our country. We are not at war. We do not have U.S. armed forces in Venezuela, and we are not occupying that country.
In Venezuela, the question of who will run the country remains unanswered. As captured leader Nicolas Maduro appeared in New York courthouse yesterday, Delcy Rodriguez was sworn in as an interim president of Venezuela. While President Trump seems focused on Venezuelan oil, the U.S. role in the country is still unclear. Yet Trump told NBC News another military operation is possible if the acting president does not cooperate. This afternoon, the Department of Justice says it has released less than 1% of its Epstein files, with a mountain more. 2 million documents still awaiting the agency's review. The DOJ was set to release all files related to the convicted sex offender by December. That's after Congress passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act late last year. But officials now say they need more time to go through papers, photos, video, and audio files. Epstein died by suicide in 2019 while awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking charges. Right now, health experts are sounding the alarm after the Department of Health and Human Services changed its recommendations for vaccines. DHS now says it recommends fewer vaccines for most American children, narrowing recommendations for vaccines against hepatitis A and B. Some vaccine recommendations do remain the same, including those for measles, mumps, and rubella, as well as immunizations against polio, chickenpox, HPV, and other diseases. As for flu, COVID, and rotavirus, officials say vaccination decisions should be based on individual consultations with doctors. But health experts worry these changes could lead to an increase in preventable infections among children. Today marks 1 month until the Milan Cortina 2026 Winter Olympics. As the flame travels through Italian cities, final preparations are taking place. But is everything ready for the Games? NBC's Claudio Lavagna has more from Rome.
As you can see, it has been raining heavily here in Rome and in other parts of Italy, but still the Olympic flame has been burning its way across the country in the hope that in a month this rain will turn into snow. With only a month to go to the opening ceremony, the Olympic torch slowly making its way to Milan and Cortina. From Rome to the ancient ruins of Pompeii, where a familiar face joined the relay, to the mountain slopes in the middle of Italy. For many torchbearers, a moment to remember, especially for Mattia Occhinero, a local boxer who on Sunday revealed that alongside the torch he was also carrying a wedding ring. His future wife said yes to his question. But there is another question around the Olympics that remains unanswered. Will all the venues be ready on time? In Milan, workers are racing against time to finish construction of the main ice hockey arena. And even the ice rink was criticized for being slightly smaller and wider than in the NHL. The International Hockey Federation said the differences are insignificant. But in a press conference last month, The NHL's Bill Daly voiced concerns.
It's all about just making sure we have ice that is safe for our players.
Organizers promise all will be ready on time as opening day approaches. In the meantime, they revealed that Mariah Carey will be among artists performing at the opening ceremony in Milan on February 6th. No doubt all the athletes will want for the Olympics is gold. Among the athletes aiming for gold are, of course, the NHL players who will take part in the Olympics for the first time in 12 years. Also, Lindsey Vonn, who staged an amazing comeback from a 5-year retirement, and now she aims to become the oldest ever alpine skier to win an Olympic medal. And, of course, Mikaela Shiffrin, who also came back from an injury in 2024, stronger than ever, and she is now once again among the ones to beat.
Stick with us. There's more news and weather coming up after the break.